Welcome everybody to Blizzard Peak Hill Climb, and today we're dealing with a 723 Quartz Regalia. Now this is an 850 horsepower, 800 pounds-feet of torque from an 8 litre supercharged V12 engine, and the car itself weighs 4,050 pounds. It's got all-wheel drive, snow tyres and off-road suspension, and it can do 0 to 60 in 3.251 seconds, 0 to 105.912 seconds, going on to a top speed of 188 miles an hour. So yeah, this isn't the first fictional car that we've had on this series, but it is the first car from another game that we've had on this series, because this is a car from Final Fantasy 15. And yeah, it's had quite a power boost. It's got more than 400 horsepower than it had originally, and about 300 pounds-feet of torque more as well. So yeah, plenty of extra power and torque, but it still weighs a fair bit. It does weigh a lot less than it did originally, but more than 4,000 pounds is still a hell of a lot of weight for a car in this series. But it does have its all-wheel drive system naturally, even though obviously it's a fictional car, but it was set up to be all-wheel drive from the start, so it's got that going for it. But the acceleration times aren't the best that we've had from a car in this series, and it's obviously not just heavy, but it's quite long and quite wide as well. So yeah, it's got a lot going against it, but considering it's a fictional car and it's obviously not something that we've ever had on a series like this before, it could come anywhere. It does have some kind of thing in its favour. The Hot Wheels twin mill, despite also being a fictional car, did really rather quite well. It did a time of 1 minute 52.613, which was quicker than some real life supercars. So yeah, it could well surprise. So let's see what it can do. And like that Hot Wheels twin mill, this had, like I said, all-wheel drive from the start. That did not. So it shouldn't have all that much understeer to deal with, even with the extra power. Saying that, it does have a fair bit there, but then again, the car, even stock, wasn't exactly a sports car. Hopefully though, this won't be our first 2-minute plus car for a while. Would be a shame, because I do really rather like this stock. Probably got the biggest engine we've ever had on this series as well, outside of, you know, having a Bugatti in the future maybe, or even the Bugatti that we did actually have. But I had the Veyron engine swapped into it, but outside of that, this is probably the biggest, because obviously that had an 8 litre W16 engine, this only has an 8 litre V12, but it's still a pretty sizable engine. Not many cars in this game that you'll find have a bigger engine than that. Obviously the engine in this was in it from the start, like that EB110, which had the Veyron engine swapped into it. It's performing okay so far. Doesn't feel particularly fast though. Well, it looks like my prediction of being having a first 2-minute plus car for a while came true at 2 minutes .754. But quite frankly, considering everything it had going against it, that is not all too shabby. Because yeah, it's still ahead of the likes of the BMW i8, the Volvo V60 Polestar, the Tamo Race Mode, the Ford Gymkhana Focus RS, Vauxhall Corsa VXR, Mercedes-Benz E63 AMG, the Subaru Rally Car, and the Hot Wheels Bone Shaker, as well as the Koenigsegg Regera. But it is behind the Audi RS5 Coupe, the Lancia Delta S4 Group B Rally Car, the Ferrari FF, and the Nissan GT-R from 2017. But quite frankly, it had a lot going against it. It had a hell of a lot of weight, and even though 850 horsepower is a lot in a car, it's not a lot in a car that still weighs more than 4,000 pounds. Because you think about all the other cars that we've had that have more than 1,000 horsepower and weigh a lot less. So yeah, it had a lot of weight and not enough power going against it, and as a result not all that much acceleration. Also had a bit of understeer, but quite frankly, to be only just over 2 minutes with all those things going against it, as well as being ahead of other cars, like I said, that are lighter or have more power or just as much, is fairly decent. And yeah, obviously being a fictional car from another game means that yeah, it's really not something you can compare against other cars, quite frankly. But yeah, still solid car on this series, and yeah, really good car to drive, even stock. It's easily one of my favourite cars to drive stock as well, to be honest, despite being fictional. So yeah, solid time. Even though it had those problems against it, it wasn't too much of a hassle to drive either, and yeah, certainly pretty fun and pretty interesting to take out there as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.